Anyone who knows me knows Rocky Mountain elk are one of my favorite big game animals. Lucky for me, my home state of Colorado is home to both large concentrations of elk and in many areas, excellent trophy quality bulls.
Dave Folson is no stranger to our viewers, as he is not only one of our producers, but a well-known big game hunter and outdoor writer. In another life, Dave spent many seasons guiding other hunters to big bulls out west, but today, he is taking on the role of visiting client hunter.
Outfitter buddy JT Robbins outfits at some great elk country, and Dave had a coveted tag in his pocket. As it's always fun to be in the field with Dave, and I had a rare week off, I decided to accompany my buddy as he joined JT and tries to find a big Colorado bull.
Late season elk head to rough country and away from hunting pressure. To have any chance, you will have to go into their country on foot and try to find a bull off the beaten path. Packs are on, boots are laced, and Dave and Aaron are headed to the Colorado Canyon lands as we open the pages of Trigicon's World of Sports Afield.
Oh my goodness, that is what I live for right there.
Well, we're in the little town of Natarita, Colorado, and it's well beyond early in the morning, but we're buying our license, getting the license hooked up, and Aaron's thinking positive, so we've already got our elk meat bags, and we've got all of our stuff packed. It hadn't rained in months, and of course it's raining this morning, but that's okay. We brought our rain gear. We're ready for whatever they have.
I've been lucky to take a couple of really nice, respectable bull elk in my career, but it's been about 8 or 9 years since I've hunted elk, and I got really lucky this year. Aaron has a really great friend, an outfitter, JT Robbins from All Out Outfitters.
Yeah.
We just heard a big bull. Sounded like a good bull growl down here in the bottom. He's not right under us. Probably one dip away from us, but we heard him rumble. It wasn't a full-on bugle, but he just grunting and growling down there, so we're gonna try to get in there and take a look. It's really hard to see through these quakies.
JT is an outfitter's outfitter. He guides for lions in Colorado, great hound man, guides for bears, big mule deer, but is really known for his excellent elk hunting. And I happened to get my hands on a tag in an area that JT guides, and JT said, look, I think if you come up in November-ish, I think we got a pretty good chance of finding a good bull.
Yesterday, right at daylight, Aaron saw a big bull in here, a really nice bull, and he came right across this clearing in front of us, and he dropped down over this backside. These are very mobile animals, and they can be in another zip code from day to day.
This morning was a little bit unusual. We'd had a pretty hard drizzle, which I haven't had up in here in a long time. Weather's warm, not great for elk hunting, but we had a big fog roll in this morning, so some of the areas that Aaron wanted to peek into, it was just a terrible fog, and it's moving up again. It kind of comes in waves. So, yeah, there's some people moving around. We saw one group way off, couldn't get the camera on them because of the fog, but Aaron pulled out a scope, and there was 3 bulls in there. He said one pretty good bull, but not the bull you saw yesterday.
Definitely not the bull I saw yesterday, but yeah, one pretty nice bull. Probably, 315, 320-ish, but the one I saw yesterday was a bit bigger, wider.
As you said, Aaron, in this country, seeing them's one thing, shooting them is another.
Yeah, once you see them, now you got to get to them.
Now, obviously, knowing I had a tag in this area, I was pretty fired up, but it got even more exciting for me when Aaron was doing a hunt with JT for black bear.
Yep, we definitely want that black bear that just pushed the brown one off the bait.
All right, get ready, Renz. I'm gonna take him.
Perfect hit. Perfect hit.
Congratulations.
Dude, thank you very much for all your help, JT. Sincerely, man, you have.
You bet. That's a great bear for sure.
You and Kyle have been lots of fun and lots of help, and man, you guys have. There's a lot more bears here than I thought.
Oh, what are we seeing on this hunt? 15 bears?
I was just out about 15 bears in 3 days.
I've shot a bunch of black bears. This is definitely the biggest one.
He spent a week very close to the country I was going to be hunting, and he saw elk all over the place. And he said they're leaving the cows, the bulls are starting to go off into their bull holes, but man, I saw some really good bulls. I think you're going to have a great hunt. My luck got even better when Aaron moved a few things around, found a very rare week-long hole in his schedule in the fall, and said, hey, look, I think I can go on there. If you want an extra pair of eyes, I think I can join you. Hey, now this thing is lining up.
If you're hunting out of a deer blind, you're always going to have a rest there. You're going to have a place to get steady. But if you're like me and you like to move around a lot, or if you're out west and you have to be moving around a lot, you've got to find a good rest, because you don't want to take a shot unless you're comfortable and steady for that shot. Well, if you look around a little bit in the environment that you're in, you can quite often find the right spot to get a really good rest, and just be real creative and find the best place to get steady before you take that shot. For instance, if you look down in this canyon and you see a big buck, you may think the only shot I have is offhand. But you know, if you look around a little bit, I'm sure you can find a better spot with a solid rest. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Right here looks like a perfect spot. Found a tree that's laid over right here. I can sit down, get myself stable, and now I have a perfectly rested shot. Another great example. This tree's got a perfect V that I can be rested in and solid that I found, or I can come onto the other side and come off it just like that. You know, in mountain country, I've got the perfect rest. My Boyd backpack. It's always on my back, and it comes out real easy, and I've shot a lot of game off my pack over the years. And finally, if you're worried you're going to be in country that you may not be able to find a steady rest somewhere, well, I've always got my bog pod with me, and you can take it with you everywhere you go, and it always provides a steady rest.
Now, I had told JT, listen, I want to be pretty self-contained. I can, hunt in this area. I don't have to have you there every minute, because JT did have some other hunters in camp scattered throughout this area. So the first couple of days, Aaron and I went into more high country, and the weather was incredibly hot, for elk season, and it really hadn't moved the elk, down out of some of the high country, but yet we were hearing reports that there were a lot of elk in the canyon country. So the elk were really scattered, which obviously doesn't make anything easier when you're trying to find out where the bulls are at.
We know we've got a little group of elk under us. We saw them from about a mile away. We've been running. There's a couple of branch antler bulls. We'll see. We spotted a big group of elk. It had several bulls in it. We made a fantastic run down the road, got into perfect position. The wind is perfect, everything. And the guy in the next canyon just starts a war shooting. Luck couldn't win any worse.
I can't hear a word they're saying. Wow.
15 till 7. We've actually seen 2 groups of elk. There's a group of elk over here, about 20, 25 animals. They're like 900 yards away, but they're already making a push for the dark timber. There was this group down here that we lost out on this morning, so they're still kind of bunched up. There's several branch antlered bulls in there, but nothing special. Bad piece of luck this morning, boss.
It was, yeah. Yeah, these bulls right here in a perfect spot right here would have been about a 300-yard shot. Unfortunately, as we got within a couple hundred yards of our shooting spot, these other guys started shooting, not at these elk, but at some other elk, and I think it spooked them off. I mean, they didn't have to go far to get in the timber right there, so I think that's what they did.
Yeah, 2 bounces and they were in the cover. Hey, that just makes you sick.
Yeah.
Just sometimes you do everything right and something else bites you, and boy, we got bit hard this morning.
Yeah.
Now, Aaron and I had planned to hunt in the high country for at least the first couple of days of the hunt. The problem with that country is once the elk move out of the meadows in the early morning where they've been feeding all night long, they head into the dark timber, and that's pretty much it for the day. You just can't get in there without spooking them.
Going in some new country this morning. We had a couple-hour ride this morning, but we're up in some new country. We're just going to give it a look. JT hunts up here a lot. He's going to help us out this morning.
We decided to pack our bags after a couple of days in the high country and move what I call the canyon lands. And it is an area that I was actually familiar with. I'd done some hunting in that area in my late 20s and early 30s, and I love the kind of country we were in.
Well, Aaron just saw a bull, and he is way, way, way over there, but he's a big 5. They've seen a medium-sized 5-point and a really big 5-point. And JT and Aaron are both looking at him and saying that's the big 5-point, but he is a god-awful way over there. Well, we've got a plan. We've got this bull about 3.5 miles over here. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and cross into Utah, jag up through Arizona, come back up here, drop back down through northern Colorado, and we're eventually gonna end up over there.
Now, I'm a spot and stalk elk hunter at the heart, and I enjoy that kind of hunting where you see them and you make a plan, try to close the distance. In this big canyon country, really that's the only way to go. Although I would never do it, you pretty safely could leave your Ruger in the truck early in the morning, because it's a pretty rare deal to actually see the elk. By the time you get set up, the sun's breaking, they've got to pretty much be right down below you for you to have a chance at them. Generally speaking, they're off in the distance, and that can be way off in the distance. You're going to spend a lot of time on the spotting scope, and of course, we were using the big Leicas, and we would look up and down the draws into these oak jungles trying to find a bull. And the good news is, we found some bulls.
We're going to roll the dice. We'd really like to see this 5x. Seeing the thing is one thing, killing him is another. We're going to have to come in from about 1.5 miles up here. Hope we're making the right decision, but you don't know until we're going to roll our dice right here tonight.
Closed captioning provided by Cryptech. Battlefield to backcountry.
We found a big 5-point from a long way away this morning. Since you saw him, he's got up and rebedded a couple of times.
He's got about 100 yards. Yeah, he's rebedded twice since we've left the hill.
So look, we know if we have a chance on this bull, we're gonna take him. We know he's a big 5x, and there's not a dang thing wrong with a big, beautiful 5x.
No, he's good.
So he's down at the very end of a valley. The problem is the elevation. We're just going to have to get down there and play it by ear.
I think before we proceed past that hill, but we want to head for that, get set up on there, and I think that'll be our glassing point, maybe even our shooting point.
From the last time that Aaron saw the bull bed down, he changed positions, and we don't know exactly where he was at. That was about 15 minutes ago. We should be within roughly 500 yards of him right now, wherever he's, unless he's really gapped it, and I don't think he's going to. He's going to come out and do his evening feed. We hope he comes this way, not that way. Wind so far is good. JT wants to just go a little further and take a peek. We're going to sit here and let him do a little re-see. Spotting for us up top, and they said there was 3 cows and a small bull that we didn't know were here, but they said they were walking up a creek, which would be out of our line of sight. And we got up to reposition about 30 yards. Well, they weren't walking down the creek, they were walking right towards us out in an oak flat, and they caught us right between moves. So we spooked a little bull and 1 cow, and I saw them going up into the dark timber. The big bull was trailing them. I'm sure he saw them run up the hill. So 9 out of 10 times we'd have killed that elk, and now we start all over.
Trigicon's World of Sports Afield has been presented by Trigicon, Brilliant Aiming Solutions, DSC, more than a club, a way of life. Ruger Firearms, the Wildlife Gallery, capturing your memories. Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable. Sam Shooting Schools, because you only get one first shot. Leica Sport Optics, and by Boyd Harness Company.
Well, this is our last morning. We came up here on a knob. That big 5x that we saw was way down this canyon. We've looked for him for 2 days, never could find him again. But we have found a group of elk over there, 1.5 miles, 2 miles. And Aaron's looking at them through the Leica spotting scope, and he says he's looking at the best bull we've seen yet. So not a lot of elevation to that over there, which may be good. But there's a bunch of elk in there, which makes it tough. You just got to wade through the wrong ones to get to the right one. We're going to see what they do. You're not going to make a move on them right now. They're up and feeding. Well, let's wait till they go into bed and make a plan.
We can get right to that knob, right? So the Green Gate Road, if we just stay straight on it.
Straight on it. Don't take any lefts, don't take any rights.
We left JT up on that knob where we were glassing a minute ago. We've come way down here with a truck. Now we've got to go that way. JT said there's a group of spikes that's between us and him now, so we got to not just be looking out for the bull, looking out for the other ones, but we're going to go quiet, we're going to go fast.
About 3:30, we found ourselves on the knob. Aaron found us a really good shooting position. We got set up. Now the glass has come out. This elk, we know where he's at. He's within 200, 250 yards of us. He's in there with the cows. It's about 10-foot cover, so it's certainly enough cover to keep us from seeing him. But he's eventually going to move, and if he moves in the right direction, hey, this is going to be, as far as elk hunting goes, a chip shot. Did I mention the point about if he comes out.
Let's go back that way, make another plan.
So we were sitting there scanning for this big 6-point, and we waited and we waited and we waited, and the sun's going down. Aaron reaches down and says, somebody's calling me. Pulls out his cell phone, gets his binoculars, and he looks up, and one of the other guides that was sitting on the big hill said, there is 3 bulls right below me. One of them is a giant, and they are headed towards the bottom of the canyon. We finally make the final push and get up on this little ball knob by the tree where he told us to set up. And sure enough, the edge of these big stand of ponderosa pines, and now we see the top of that elk's antlers, 5 by. All we need is the big guy. He is there. He's traveling with these 2. We got probably 2-3 minutes of shooting light. It's a waiting game. Well, as you know by now, the sun set on our best efforts. And that big bull, I'm still happy to say, is still alive and well in Colorado, I'm sure. You know, disappointed, absolutely. And it didn't help that when we got back to Texas, and only when we got back to Texas, did I find out that while I was getting a rifle on and the backpack on, Cameron, on full zoom with a doubler, actually got this piece of the bull. So what you're looking at right now is the bull that we were after. And I tell you, we got awfully close. And you know, we decided to go ahead and make a show out of this. You know, sometimes you can burn the checkbook, you can burn the lungs, the legs, you can give it the very best effort, you can go with the right guys in the right place at the right time, and I had all those going for me. But despite our very best efforts on this hunt, it just didn't all come together. Disappointing? Yeah, of course, but that really is hunting. Maybe that's really what being a sportsman's all about. Yeah, we choked down the disappointment, but we know we played the game fairly, we played it to the best of our ability, and we go into fair chase hunting knowing that not always will our efforts be rewarded with an animal. But I'll say this, we had a great time. I was with good friends. I enjoyed being in the high country. So if you ask me about my 2016 elk hunt with Colorado and JT and Cameron, I'm gonna say one of the best hunts I've been on in a long, long time.